Now to our interview with someone who made history this week, becoming the first woman nominee for president of a major political party. I spoke with Hillary Clinton a short time ago. Secretary Clinton, thanks for joining us and congratulations.
Thank you so much, Judy. It was an extraordinary time last night.
So while you are celebrating, Senator Sanders is saying he's out there going to fight, continue to fight for every vote, every delegate. We know your staffs are talking, but do you have plans to personally talk to him? And what are the remaining hurdles to come to an agreement on rules and platform at the Democratic convention?
Well, I called Senator Sanders last evening and congratulated him on the hard-fought, determined campaign that he ran. And I am looking forward to working with him to unify the Democratic Party against the threat that Donald Trump poses to our country. So we are talking. We will be having an opportunity to discuss in greater detail in the days ahead how we can best work together. I know he's seeing the president tomorrow at the White House, so everyone is focused on bringing the party together behind our goal of being sure that a Democrat succeeds Barack Obama next January.
Well, you clearly won many more votes than Senator Sanders did, but he appears to have generated more enthusiasm, especially among younger voters. How do you go about winning them over, winning their trust, and getting them to vote for you in November?
Well, Judy, first of all, let me say I think my supporters are pretty enthusiastic, too, and they've turned out for me by the millions, many more millions than Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump. And I want to stand up for my supporters. You know, they may not be the most vocal and demonstrating, but they show up and vote. And we have a broad-based, inclusive foundation for this campaign that we're going to build on going into the general election. But of course, I recognize that Senator Sanders really connected with young people in our country. A lot of his energy came from their support for him. And we are going to be reaching out. We're going to be working to make sure that every young person who supported Senator Sanders, if that young person cares about income inequality or making college affordable or making sure everybody has health care, those are goals we share.
Well, let me ask you about Donald Trump, because it's typical in modern American politics. Voters want a change in direction, usually after one president for this long. Doesn't he represent that?
Oh, I think he represents a great threat to our society and our economy. Now, there may be some people who respond to his sloganeering and his bigotry and bullying, but I just don't think that a majority of Americans are going to buy it. And we saw just this past week his racist attack on the federal judge, accusing him of being unable to be impartial in hearing the case that is exposing the fraud at Trump University. And it is just heartbreaking as well as outrageous. So I think he has a lot of challenges in overcoming the words and deeds that he's already used in this campaign and before that I think make him unqualified to be president, temperamentally unfit to be commander-in-chief.
Well, Donald Trump is saying, as I think you know, that he's going to make a major speech early next week. He says he's going to detail how you, as Secretary of State, that there were conflicts of interest while the Clinton Foundation was doing business with foreign countries while you were in office, that the foundation benefited personally from this. He's going to talk about, he said, millions of dollars being exchanged. Is this something you're worried about? And is the foundation something you need to sever you and your family from completely if you're elected?
I am not worried about this. I mean, this is just more of the same recycled attacks that people like Donald Trump have been making against us for a long time. There's no factual basis to it. That's been proven time and time again. I can't stop someone from retreading arguments that have been disproved over and over again. He can say whatever he wants to. He can run whatever campaign he wants to. So I'm not going to respond to his personal attacks. That's something that, he can choose to do. I'm going to respond, however, to the attacks that he makes on women and immigrants and Muslims and people with disabilities and POWs and federal judges, and the list keeps growing.
Secretary Clinton, one question on foreign policy. You were described in a recent acclaimed book by Mark Landler as being the, quote, house hawk in the Clinton war cabinet. And we know that you, and you've talked about this, you encouraged the president to intervene in Libya in 2011. Recently, President Obama said his worst mistake in office was probably failing to plan for the day after what he thought was the right thing to do in intervening there. How do you see your responsibility in that?
Well, first of all, it's important to remember where we were and why the president made the decision he did, because this was a presidential decision. I've advised the president. Sometimes he follows my advice. Sometimes he doesn't. Sometimes he uses a combination of what he hears from his advisors. We were looking at a potential disaster as Gaddafi threatened to massacre large numbers of his population. The Europeans, our Arab allies, were urging us to help them to try to prevent that. After due diligence, we came up with a way of supporting their efforts that did not cost a single American life, and we saved a lot of Libyan lives. Now, could we have done more after the Gaddafi regime was ended? Well, that's always, second guessing, and I'm sure that there's more we could have done. But let's look at what we did do. We, along with the UN and others, helped to superintend 2 free and fair elections, something that is still quite an accomplishment by the Libyan people. They chose moderate leaders. Unfortunately, pre-existing rivalries within the country has prevented the government from really being able to act on behalf of the nation. So, of course, if there were more things to be done that we could have influenced, I think that's something we should be looking at and evaluating, because Libya still is a country that is struggling to be successful.
And finally, a quick running mate question. How big a negative do you think it would be to choose a sitting senator from a state with a Republican governor, knowing that would mean a Republican replacement?
Well, I know it's a big concern to my friends in the Senate, and I respect that concern. I'm going to choose someone who I think would be ready to be president at a moment's notice. Obviously, I will listen to my former colleagues as they are working so hard to take back the Senate, but I'm going to really be focused on the qualifications that the person brings to the job. And I haven't gotten into that in the depth I will, but that's what my guiding star will be.
Secretary Clinton, we thank you, and again, congratulations.
Thanks a lot, Judy. Great to talk to you.